Hi there, this is Olivia. Thought it would be good to talk about a very important part of my creative process, my collages. Apparently, because my collages have a lot going on, people think I have a specific technique or a specific process, but I started doing them because I did not have a creative process. When I decided to go back to fashion school and that time to focus on my creativity instead of learning the craft or technical knowledge, it was also the first time I was instructed on how to do proper research, as in, like, to be very personal and go really in depth instead of just like looking up bloggers and copying their very predictable outfits that were like Zara with like pointy Balmain shoulders and Valentino Rockstud shoes. For me, that sounds very lame because I was never that girl. And fortunately, I can't even say that it's just in fast fashion that you get to do that. A lot of expensive brands um, will have the same process, and even many fashion schools. Yeah, back to the collages. When I finally had the freedom to look into what I liked, I was like a kid in a candy store, and I saved everything that I liked. I printed everything that I liked. I spent a fortune in printing. But I didn't have that experience to tell me, like, girl, you don't need to show everything all at once. Edit. So when I tried to explain everything, I went into these absurd tangents that only made sense in my head. So the collages were the way I found to make sense of all the nonsense in a way that was presentable and nice to look at. Nothing was very deliberate, so I'm not here to present you the live-in method. I'm just gonna show you my behind the scenes in a little bit more detail and give you some tips. If you like them, try them. If you don't like them, try something else. Cool? Let's do this. These are the two collages that get the most views. Here they are on sugar paper, which is this slightly beige paper with kind of a texture. I started doing them just on like regular cartridge paper, yeah. And if you look up closely, it really is pictures that I just cut very neatly and stuck together. But how I chose the layout, it was really like a stack of pictures and me just cutting and printing things over and over and over again. Sometimes a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller to see like the best way to fit them together. You can do that on Photoshop. That time I was really like, I really didn't know what I was doing, and I just kept doing it very manually. And to bring everything together, I did these washes of color. Looking at them now, I think it's a little bit messy. Maybe it could be a little bit smaller on the page. And then once I printed it on the sugar paper is nice because it adds a little bit of texture to it, but it flattens out the collage. So it's a portfolio page, it's not a fine art piece. So yeah, I know, who cares? For this other one, I still have, look at this, the original pictures from this project. I have this one that I don't know if I used it for anything, but you can see that here is a theme of repetition and these knee patches coming here again. So I think there was this thing about shapes that did like this. So here, and I fit a little bit here. Did I use it in the final outcome of this project? I don't think I did. So yeah, I didn't quite know what I was doing, but the collages still look nice. For this one, I still have the original picture So you can see it was much smaller, and I just kept making it bigger and bigger and bigger until I found a proportion that worked. Again, there's a little bit of fabric that I taped to it, the stitches that I made straight on the thing, and then that didn't matter because when I reprinted it on sugar paper, it flattened out this little bit of fluff. Another original with the distressed paper showing a different layer. This one worked really well on the sugar paper because I wanted to add those white brush strokes, and they look a lot better when it's on a not white paper. This is for another project. I was still using the same technique of just getting pictures and cutting them out and then placing them together, but I had a lot less time. So this one is a lot simpler. I was still trying to incorporate the brush strokes. I think this is a more successful one because it doesn't have a lot of elements, and it's placed on the page, the placement on the page, that instead of being like this, it's a little bit slanted. I did this one because I wanted to join this with this somehow. Another way to use collages is creating silhouettes. Here, I think you can see that it was like there's one picture here and then it's a separate picture here, because I actually only had two of these strips of styrofoam blocks. Everyone knows it's a collage, so I made these weird shapes kind of sticking out. It's a collage. People know it's a collage, so have fun with it. So it was very hard to work with these separate pieces because they were so bulky. So it was hard to pin them together, manipulate them. So I took the pictures and then I could just piece them together. The good thing about collages is that even when you don't quite know how you're gonna cut and make something like this or this, you can already explore that silhouette. Just be fully aware. Don't take your own collages too seriously, and know that this is not a final thing. Once you cut and make the final thing, it will probably look very different from this. I'm not in school anymore. I'm much faster. I have more fun with it. So I use Photoshop more, like for example with this. Sometimes I still use the brush strokes, but I try not to be too messy. Just because someone told me that they were my signature, I don't have to use them for everything. And I make a very simple presentation just because I wanted to have something. I use my collages to have ideas for new prints. Besides using Photoshop and Illustrator, I don't think that the collage itself is going to be the final thing, because I'm not a fine artist. No one is buying like the collages. I use them for something else. For example, on this one, it was a whole picture. It was more or less like, I can, 15 minutes I made two variations, and then I could see that's like, oh, actually I don't need all this information here. I just want this part to be a little bit cleaner. Then once I decided that, I could go and try some different prints. And some of the things, this fish is so a mix. I started on Illustrator and I did some stuff by hand. I think this one was the final one, and it's gonna probably become a t-shirt. So stay tuned. Hope you got something out of this video. This one was a little bit more spontaneous. I did not have much of a script. I usually do, and I usually write and rewrite them countless times so I don't lose focus. But in this case, I hope you got to see that it's not like I have a secret special technique. I just went out there and tried something, and I tried. I failed many times, and I still don't think I did like a impeccable work. in many cases. So yeah, go out there, try your own collages, try your own thing. It's nice to have some guidance. So if you want my guidance, you can always ask me stuff in the comments. You can send me an email. But if you need very specific advice or if you need more hand holding, please consider getting a mentorship session with me. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe to my channel. And if you didn't like anything, leave me feedback. See you next time. Bye.